Happy New Year! It's Mike Matthews, and it's episode 1524, the first show, the first Mike's Daily Podcast of 2018. Cafe, anyway. I need to take my hat.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
What happened was my hat is so big that I can't get my headphones around it. I need headphones to do my show. Did you know? Even though I'm headphoneless in the podcast picture today. But hey, it's 2018. Woo! Another year. The 21st century is now officially legal. Welcome, Mike's Daily Podcast. I've refashioned that joke after something I tried to do on Friday, but it is overcast and hazy as I look out. Mike's Daily Podcast of Cafe Anyway, and I hope 2018 is going to kick some rump for you, and that you can go and take to the dump all the stuff you don't need in your life, like, for example, that freaking ugly, disgusting thing that sits in the corner. What is that? Ew. Look away. Mike's Daily Podcast. It's John Wilkes Booth's throat. Wait, what? I was watching Lindsey Fitzharris on C-SPAN Daily, and she handles podcast odd old dead things. Yeah! And she's sort of a fascinated medical historian person who writes crazy, dark books about how we did surgery back in the days in the dark ages. Well, actually, like over 100, just a little over 100 years ago, look who walked in, how we did surgery. Anyway, she was on Cafe Anyway. C-SPAN, and she's a hot, beautiful blonde. And she's so young and knows all this stuff, all this history. How does she know all this stuff? It's amazing. She's gathered so much knowledge. She is interesting to watch and listen to. Look who else walked in. All these people walking in. I can't handle it. But we are at a cafe anyway where anyone is invited. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
As a disgruntled fiddle player tell you what.
What?
That stuff sounds like really gross.
Yeah. Well, people are fascinated by gross things. You know, but what we learned from each other is success. Oh, here's something Lindsey said. I love failure because it informs success.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And that says it all, doesn't it? The podcast picture today is me not being afraid to fail. Me with Basil the boxer. And we are attempting to walk past, through Fairmont Ridge, over on top of Fairmont Ridge by Podcastro Valley, just Podcastro Valley. Today I'm in Podcastro Valley 10 here at Cafe Anyway, and the last place on earth, located somewhere there. And it's where we are here as we kick off 2018 on a hazy day. And the podcast picture is also, hey, I've just now realized that if you are listening to this show on YouTube, you can listen to the show on YouTube. It has been, the Mike's Daily Podcast channel has been up for many, many years now. And I will have this actually as the first podcast you listen to. What is that horrible guitar sound? That's the same guitar sound that you hear on every stupid Google commercial. Hey, try the new Google. It does this and that. And ooh. Damn guitar sound. Hey, we're playing like a jolly ukulele song. Hey, check out our new Google thing that monitors every little thing you do, and you breathe, and you monitors your health. But so my point being, and that's the catchphrase of the show, is I was listening as I got up at 5 a.m. to be at work at 6. I was listening to a little bit of health, what's in store for health. Because now, this is the time of year we all get obsessed with health. How do I get rid of all the pounds that I've gained over the holidays? And people are going to now start their stupid crash diets. No. the way to lose weight. Now, not that I'm some kind of Adonis, not that I'm some kind of super uber fit guy, but I could be if I wasn't the way I am. I could be much more unhealthy, and I am not. For I take these things to heart philosophically, and that is, you have to watch what you eat, right? And you have to be aware of the stuff that you eat that's bad for you, the stuff that turns to sugar, the stuff that's processed. You have to try and eat way more good things for you, vegetables, for example, less of the meat. And anytime you hear a diet that says, oh, you got to have a lot more protein in your diet, you got to eat a lot more meat, run for the hills. That has never, ever worked. Ever. Atkins diet at all. Never worked. Your stupid, what's that one? Paleo diet. I crap all over your paleo diet. No. You've got to have a balanced diet. You can't just go with one specific thing all the time. You need to eat your grains and your nuts and you've got to drink a lot of water. You've got to drink a lot of water, and you've got to stay away from sugar as much as possible, and salt. Stay away from salt. Never, ever, ever throw away your salt shakers. And when your Uncle Ned comes over, and he's like, where's the salt shaker? Tell him to bleep off. And by bleep, I mean to shove off, of course. Just the people's bad health. These are things you just that needs to become de rigueur. That needs to become part of your life. And I'm preaching here on Mike's Daily Podcast today a little bit. But that this is something that I had to learn. And now I will never, ever, ever go back. I never salt anything. There is salt in my spice rack that just sits there, and it's probably overgrown with whatever that weird green stuff is that grows over salt crystals after a while, because I have never, ever used it. I should just throw it away. Oh, sorry, I'm sniffing. It's early, and I'm pontificating a little bit. But, I'm feeling better after the pontification. Thank you. So, the thing is, though, we need to love failure because it informs success. Thank you to the beautiful blonde Lindsey Fitzharris. And you should... this is the one other bit about health that I wanted to impart to you, if I may. And that is, find some... You need to do physical activity, of course. Find the physical activity that you love to do, that you can do every day, that helps out. For example, I walk my dog every day, and that helps me because I'm walking, and that helps burn calories. I'm helping my dog because my dog needs to walk. Your dog needs to walk every day. I'm sorry, if you have a dog and you're not walking your dog is miserable, is probably going to die it's not going to live long, is what I'm saying. And you need to, that's the part of having a dog and being a dog owner, is that you are having a mutual symbiotic relationship is what I want to say. Because the dog is helping you walk and burn calories, and vice versa. You're helping the dog and getting the dog out there to it makes them healthy. Yes. So you see what I'm saying. Find something you like to do. Do you like to bicycle? Do that every day. Do you like to walk? Do that every day. Do you like to, I don't know, enjoy relations with your loved one every day? Do that every day. Do something. Don't go and kill people. Don't hurt people every day. Do something that's positive for all involved. But find that one thing you can do every day that isn't going to kill you or kill someone else. And the physical activity, walk to work, bicycle to work, swim. I know somebody that swims every day. They moved from California to another state in the South, and they moved to an HOA situation where they had a pool that he could use every day. He made sure to find that specifically. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is just be good to yourself when nobody else will. Yeah, be good to yourself. And that is a Journey song from the mid-'80s. that was a humdinger of a song. Speaking of Basil, though, he does, when we go on walks, he does attract some of the weirdos. People, like, I see them out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, oh boy, what's that? Uh-oh. And that person will come up and talk to me and be, because Basil's just such a great conversation starter. What kind of dog is that? Where on earth did you find a dog like that? Etc. Is this even recording? Oh, it is. I was looking at the recording thing and it's not even moving. Okay, we're 10 minutes into the show. We should get this show started. So that's one thing I don't enjoy about walking Basil the Boxer. And then when my foot was hurting, I didn't enjoy walking the dog because I would be in this writhing in pain as I walked. But still, I think it helped it heal because it kept the muscles in motion, and I didn't walk too much. I didn't overextend myself. So don't go jump into a fad. Don't do an exercise. Don't do CrossFit. Don't become a CrossFit. You will hurt yourself unless you want to really abuse yourself. And then there's something maybe wrong with you because you hate yourself for some reason, and you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And you need to find out why this is happening. Everyone I've known that's done CrossFit have ended up ending it, or ending like somebody I know ended up destroying their marriage with it. Well, that's happened a lot of times with CrossFit. So I don't know. That's sort of the destructive end of exercise. Maybe you like it. Maybe you can counter me on this. You can call me at 1-336-MM-DAILY. That's 336-MM-DAILY. Or you can email me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. And one other thing I'd like to mention, and that is here in the world of radio, every day I'm surrounded by radio, and I'll tell you why. Because I found the one thing I love, and that is radio. I was away from radio for a while, and yeah, there are a lot of things I don't like about it. And I will tell you exactly what they are. People with egos and people who do not dare or challenge themselves to learn. In radio, our technology has, ever since I've been in radio, has continued to grow and mount and continue on, and everything has changed several times over since I've been in radio, and I've loved it. I love the fact that everything is digital now. I don't have to use stupid tape anymore. I love that. But there are some people that are stuck, and there was a guy I worked with who got let go, and he was stuck in this old time, always telling me, oh yeah, I had great ratings years and years ago. Oh yeah, I was once the so-and-so of this, I was a bigwig years ago. What are you doing now? And he would not learn any of the new technology that you have to have in radio. This could probably apply to any line of work where you have to be on top of the new technology. Some people are afraid. You can't be a Luddite in this world, or in radio especially. I experienced this yesterday when someone showed up at the radio station. I was busy with a project. They give me what we call production, where I create commercials for this radio station. I was working on something, and this person shows up and basically wants to kick me out of the studio so that they can do work that they were given to do. And I said to them, there's 3 other studios that you can use. Why do you got to use this one? I'm all tied up. And this person walks over and looks at, what are you doing? So what are you doing? Like basically saying, hey, whatever you're doing, Mike, is not in anywhere near importance to what I am about to do. And that ego and their fear of using another production room, another studio, because they don't have, they're afraid to learn, to challenge themselves, to learn new technology is, I can't stand that. And so there, you have to fail. You have to love failure because it informs your success. At some point, you will succeed if you fail enough times. That's all I wanted to get off my chest today. Did you know I did a Super Secret Sunday show? And on that Super Secret Sunday show, we discussed phrasing again, and I sang a song from Rush, Red Alert, that one. Well, Kim Jong Un, or Un, or whatever, has promised to focus this year on producing nuclear warheads and missiles for operational deployment, but he also struck a conciliatory note, oh, how nice of him, opening the door to dialogue with South Korea and saying he would consider sending a delegation to the Winter Olympics to be held in his southern neighbor in February. Okay. Well, that's what he's doing. And what I would say is last year he kind of painted himself into a corner. He upset a lot of folks. And he says he has a nuclear button but won't use it unless threatened. And we've heard that before. And that's basically the big news today, because it's a slow news day. Kirsten Gillibrand, is she running for president? Washington Post doing an analysis on that. And of course that Iran situation going on right now with the protests and the Colorado thing. That's it. Face ID has been shown unlocking for family members who aren't alike. What? Apple's Face ID is the safest facial recognition system ever made for smartphones. Unlike its Android alternatives, it can't be hacked with photos, and it can be used to authenticate mobile payments. It's a lot more secure than Touch ID, and it'll likely equip more Apple devices in the future. Even Android device makers aren't expected to copy Face ID this year. But Face ID is not hack-proof. It has been proven already that young children can hack into their parents' iPhone X units, iPhone 10 units, whatever. Twins and triplets can also unlock the phones belonging to their siblings, especially at a young age, and it's pretty obvious why that happens. Somebody posted on YouTube a short video clip of a daughter and a mother unlocking the same iPhone using Face ID. The daughter isn't that young, and she's not so similar to her mother. That's not very nice of them to say in this article. The Face ID hack is successful time and again, which is impressive. Somehow the device thinks the same person is facing the phone, and it's unlocking the device accordingly, according to BGR. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Hey, we forgot to say hi to this person.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. Oh, boy, have them. I'm sorry people are annoying you today. Oh, boy.
No, I'm just having a thing against Luddites and egoists. But hey, I love you. Thank you for listening to the show. If you ever see Basil and I walking along and you're like, oh, I want to go over and talk to Mike, don't worry. I don't think you're weird or strange. Just unless you are. But then you make this podcast more interesting, because then I want to talk about you. But yeah, Fairmont Ridge, by the way, is where that photo was taken of Basil and I in the podcast picture. And that is a place I will probably be many, many, many times in 2018, hopefully, God willing. So I will maybe see you there. If you'd like to join me for a Mike excursion one of these days, let me know. Mike's Daily Podcast at gmail.com. You can go to the website, mikesdailypodcast.com. Oh my gosh, there's so much there. All the past podcast pictures. If you're like sick of where you're listening to this podcast, if you're sick of the whatever you're using, like Kevin was telling me he was getting sick of YouTube because YouTube cuts off when the screen goes dim. There's a billion other places to listen to this podcast: Stitcher, Spreaker, YouTube, SoundCloud. Not much. No, I've only got a couple episodes up on SoundCloud because SoundCloud is lame, and I think they're going to go away probably by this time next year. We'll see. But there's Google Play. I'm on the iHeartRadio app. I'm on Deezer. I'm on the podcasts.com website. And I'm on the player.fm website. So a bunch of different places you can check out Mike's Daily Podcast. Find them all at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. And now, the lovely Ariel, who I saw on Instagram, which I'm also on Instagram, at Mike's Daily Podcast. The lovely Ariel was showing me on Instagram, or showing all of her fans on Instagram, that she was at some crazy fireworks-laden party in Nashville last night. So good for her. I slept through midnight. Well, actually, that's not true. At 12:10, some big explosion was going off. I think I heard about 6 or 7 booms that it sounded like someone knocking on the door, and I had earplugs in my ear to keep out the sound. And I looked at Basil, and he looked a little concerned, but then he went back to sleep, thankfully. But then I kept on sleeping and slept right through. I went to bed at 9:30, woke up at 5, and slept right through midnight. And it was wonderful! Yes! Yes! I didn't have to deal with all that New Year's Eve crap! Ha ha! Woo! I loved it! And I woke up in 2018, wished Basil the boxer a happy new year, because I'm a crazy dog owner like that. And yes, it was wonderful sleeping, going to bed early. But perhaps you had a wonderful New Year's Eve, and I hope you did. Somebody called up the radio station, by the way, at around 5 o'clock in the evening on New Year's Eve. I was about to leave at 6 p.m., came back to work at 6 a.m. Yeah, that's my life. But I found that one thing I love, and that's called radio, even though it pays nothing. And the guy calls up, and he's called me before. I've worked at this radio station for about 5 years now. And he's called a couple times, and it's always on New Year's Eve or just a few days before. And I was going, wow, he hasn't called this year. And then all of a sudden at like 5:30, he calls, and he goes, hey, what are you going to be playing at midnight tonight? And I said, we're going to be playing Old Lang Syne. And he goes, what version? Guy Lombardi. That's the traditional version everybody plays. Oh, okay. Well, last year, you didn't play it at midnight. You played it at 2 minutes after midnight. And I said, oh, okay. What do you say to that? Some people would say, just hang up on them. So what we do at this radio station I work for is at midnight, we'll play Guy Lombardi's Old Lang Syne, bum, 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 bum. And then right after that, play Dan Fogelberg's Same Old Lang Syne. I met her at a liquor store we hadn't seen in quite a while. And then the rain came down, and it was such a Old Lang Syne. We do that every year. But because the station is automated, there'll be a song that maybe plays a little bit over and pushes it past midnight. Let's say the song just before midnight is I Need You Tonight by INXS, and it started like at 1 minute before midnight. It'll push it to 2. So in other words, we don't cut off the song. We let the song play out, the previous song, and then it goes to the... So this guy was all upset for the past year. He's been upset that Guy Lombardi's Old Lang Syne didn't start right at exactly midnight. And that's the kind of calls you get at a radio station, even in 2018. Amazing. So, hope you aren't like that, but if you are, and you see me and Basil walking by, hey, we'll chat, and I'll talk about you on the podcast, and it'll be wonderful. And 2018 will be wonderful. And fail in 2018, but also you will succeed in 2018. I can see it. Yes. Find that one thing you love to do. And thank you for listening to Mike's Daily Podcast. Take it away, lovely Ariel.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Next show, it's Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Do you